Acolytes. Scouter V time. By the way, because I know you will watch Scouter, people in my Twitch chat actually say all the time you have always good points. So, just so you know, just so I can streak your ego a bit up. So, let's just start.
My dudes, get your lube!
Wait a sec. What was this dragon? I don't get me wrong, Acolytes. I understand the Skyrim reference, but this dragon is not a Skyrim dragon, and I don't recognize it from anywhere. If somebody recognizes this dragon, please tell me.
My dudes, get your lubes! I came back to warn you about what Xbox and Bethesda are doing to Elder Scrolls 6. My God, it's horrible. You'll never believe this, but they...
Who's laughing now? You
Ah,
dork.
Oh, thank God. It was all a dream. Or was it? Here we go again. Look like a lot of you dudes, I'm a huge fan of Bethesda and that little man known as Todd Howard. But I've got some serious concerns about the future of the Elder Scrolls franchise. After having played the disaster known as Fallout 76 and struggling to get through their new mediocre IP Starfield, I'm sure that a lot of us are hoping that the next Elder Scrolls game is gonna pass Skyrim and set a new standard for open world sandbox RPGs, so we can all jump.
the reference. Okay. By the way, Acolytes, I'm gonna be honest. I don't hope for a second that the next Elder Scrolls game will overcome Skyrim. With those effing brain-dead, rotting zombie frogs on Bethesda's side, these thieving little scammers, there is no chance that the game will be good. Or at least I don't think that there is any chance of it being good. Let's just hope they let their freaking greedy little fingers out of it. Not even touch it.
Back on that gay for Todd bandwagon. Maybe some of you dudes haven't noticed, but if you've been playing games for a while, there's been an obvious pattern of AAA companies sacrificing gameplay mechanics and depth to cater to a wider audience, aka dumbing things down. Bethesda is no stranger to this. I'm sure that people who got into the Elder Scrolls series with Skyrim and then went back to play Oblivion or Morrowind would have noticed how many more mechanics there are, like more armor slots, or being able to choose which stats to put your points into. The
And by the way, Morrowind. I found a jump spell. What I didn't have at that point was a featherfall or fly. Yeah, guess how this ended. And I saved in the air. Because I found it so cool, so... yeah. Restart moment.
Fallout series has been getting the same treatment as well, but basically almost everything that makes an RPG an RPG has been slowly chipped away at. Take a look at the amount of skills removed from the games over time. Morrowind had 27 skills to build your character with. They decided to drop it down to 21 in Oblivion. And now Skyrim has only 18, as they've been removing things like spears and throwing weapons, in addition to combining skill trees like axe, sword, and mace into one specialization called one-handed. Maybe some people don't think this is a big deal, but removing content from the game takes away the fun of making multiple characters and trying to make your own unique build. On top of that, magic is now the weakest form of combat in the series now, which is why there are so many mods to revamp the entire system. In Morrowind and Oblivion, you could actually create your own custom spells, letting you do some crazy things like making spells that look like nukes. And don't get me started on the removal of athletics, which lets you jump around the map like some superhero badass. Another thing that's making the game worse is that the series initially had 4 armor types: unarmored, light, medium, and heavy armor. But they removed being able to spec into unarmored, and they completely removed medium armor because they thought it was too complicated. But who are we kidding? They just don't want to model extra gear. And like I said, they've been removing armor slots by doing things like combining chest armor with leg armor in Skyrim. We've gone from 9 equipable armor pieces in Morrowind to 6 in Oblivion, and now just 5 in Skyrim. And it's not like this is something that the players want either. Take a look at Elden Ring and how many unique builds you can make.
The thing is, while I agree with him, every single metric you can look at shows that even though they took out so much stuff people still played it more than the old stuff. Sadly. And that's just a fact.
Almost every player beat the game in their own unique way. I don't know how far they're gonna go with Elder Scrolls 6, but there's obviously a pattern going on here. I mean, did you play Starfield? Armor has been simplified all the way down to just 3 pieces. A spacesuit, helmet, and a jetpack. I mean, come on. When are they gonna stop? Do they really think we're all that stupid?
Yeah.
Well, yes, actually. Back in 2017, Pete Hines, the senior vice president of global marketing and communications, was getting heat for dumbing down skills in Fallout 4. And he posted this statement: if you're gonna complain to anyone at Bethesda on Twitter, don't bother. We do not care what you think about our decisions on writing, removing skills, or universal retcons in Fallout. We make our games accessible to as many people as possible, including women, and that's what makes sense. That sounds weird. Pete, what are you trying to say? Some dude replied with, what about older fans who helped build the series, who care about these things? Aren't they relevant? And get this, Pete replied with, look, what we do is our concern. It's our IP and our company. If we decide skills are too complex and unneeded, they aren't needed. So what he is saying is that Bethesda thinks that they need to remove complex skills and concepts in order to make their games more accessible to people such as women, because they think they are too stupid to handle these systems.
Yep.
Wait, I think he...
On point here. Yes. On effing point here. But as I said, the sales metric say that it's fine. The only reaction that you should have after he posted this is, okay, I'm not buying it anymore. It's that simple.
He kinda has a point.
ブルースカイの人たちにキャンセルされちゃうよ。
ごめん、もう言わないから。別に気にしないけどさ。
はぁ？喧嘩売ってんの？
違う。
Hell
So
yeah,
get this,
the waifu.
last month
My
Bethesda
favorite
Shadow
one.
drops the Oblivion remaster, and the game instantly blows up, and rightfully so. The game looks amazing now. I will say that it runs like crap on high settings, but Oblivion was made during the golden age of gaming, where gaming studios could just make what they wanted and not be forced to add a bunch of political nonsense into it. But that's when the drama started. Just like almost every other AAA gaming studio who releases a remake or remaster of an old game, Xbox and Bethesda couldn't just release it like it was without making a bunch of stupid changes to it that literally nobody asked for. I'm sure you've already noticed, but they removed gender from the character creation menu. I know that some people are just gonna say it's just a few words, but if it was just a few words, why was it changed to begin with? That's because it is a big deal. If it wasn't, Nexus Mods wouldn't be banning mods that changed it back to male and female. I'm sorry guys, but I'm never gonna understand how excluding 99% of the players and forcing everybody to play as non-binary characters is inclusive at all. But let's be honest, is this going to be a deal breaker for most gamers? No. If the game is good enough, most people will ignore it. But like I always say, it's an immediate red flag that the game you're playing either has some sort of political messaging in it, or at the very least, some form of censorship that only applies to female characters.
Yep.
I mean, come on, dudes. Do you really think that the weirdos that these gaming companies are paying for to push all of these social changes are just gonna stop at gender? Of course not. And what do you know?
It's a power
Bethesda
play.
has gone out of the way to censor female characters in art, and almost every female set of armor has been either toned down or replaced with a male version instead, because these freaks are disgusted by femininity. While making this video, another YouTuber went in depth about all the changes I was planning to cover here, so I'm just gonna leave a link to her video in the description if you want to see everything for yourself. But to sum it up, they changed almost everything to be more modest, especially around the chest area, and try to cover up more skin. It looks like they just opened up paint and lazily pasted all over them. Some skirts have been also made longer as well, and almost every single female statue has been completely reworked, which completely changes the art style of how women are portrayed in the entire series. I also noticed that every zombie was apparently wearing the same pants when they died, which looks stupid, and they are way less creepy than the original. And one thing I personally noticed that not many people are talking about is that they put underwear on the dead body of Lucian, who was part of the Dark Brotherhood questline. I mean, come on, are you telling me he was hung upside down, brutally tortured, and at the very end they put a fresh pair of Hanes on the dude? It's ridiculous. And no, none of this is because of the ESRB. The game was rated M for mature, meaning that Bethesda censored their game for other reasons. Get your tinfoil hats on here, boys, because personally, I think the main reason they shadow dropped the remaster was to avoid controversy and gauge the reaction to the censorship and body type.
Hell yeah! For F's sake, brother, the Dr. Disaster cameo. Where was it? Where was it? Yes! Fuck yeah. Thank you.
Type change in preparation for the next Elder Scrolls title. And I'm glad that so many people are calling them out, because I'm so sick of this bullshit.
Ooh, Todd Howard, yeah. You made a lot of promises to the Macho Man, didn't you? Promises that you didn't keep. But letting Xbox ruin the Elder Scrolls takes a lot of guts, brother. Which is great, because that's all that's gonna be left all over the map after WrestleMania 5!
He's lost his mind. Clothesline. Another one. It's over. Uh-oh, he's signaling. He can taste it. He smells it. Good God. Enough's enough.
Why would Bethesda do this to a 20-year-old fan-loved game?
Because they are freaks in there that control it. I'm not gonna go deeper in it. It's just freaks that control freaks and think that they can actually control normal, socially acceptable people. And I am not talking about lonely people or something like this that just maybe have a bit of a... No, I talk about specifically freaks that go in and try to rip you apart for a word.
Well, I don't think it was Bethesda's fault at all. I covered a lot of this in my Avowed video, but I'm gonna say it here again. Xbox is currently forcing their worldviews and design philosophies into every single one of their studios instead of letting them create what they want. No, this isn't some conspiracy. They proudly state what they are doing on their website. It's all under product inclusion action. Help customers feel seen. Are you reinforcing any negative gender stereotypes? Are you necessarily introducing gender and gender barriers into your code or design? This explains the stupid body type 1 and 2 bullshit and why they censored the private part area of the zombies and Lucian. They think that having male and female is an unnecessary gender barrier for the you-know-who's.
How can I describe you?
I'm non-bi.
Thank you for coming in.
Are you creating playable female characters that are equal in skill and ability to their male peers? If you played the original game, you might have noticed that female and male characters had different physical capabilities, and it reflects on their stats, as you can see here. You know, just like in real life. Well, Xbox doesn't like that. I wonder why. So they went out of their way to add this origin system, which changes your stats instead of gender, removing something that made this game so unique. It's just so stupid. All your female characters equipped with clothing and armor that fits their tasks. And there it is, my dudes. This explains the censorship and why they are moving away from armor designed for female bodies and making them all wear the bulky male versions instead. We saw a ton of this in Avowed 2, which is why the female guards look terrible and completely out of place. So do all these changes completely ruin the game? No, that's not what this video is about. Honestly, the remaster is just as fun as the original. So you're gonna see a ton of people who don't care about any of these changes at all. But I'm telling you guys, you're not seeing the whole picture. The worst part of this whole situation is that the next Elder Scrolls game will be the first in the series to be built entirely on Xbox's core values from the ground up, which is going to affect everything from writing, world building, and art. It's gonna feel and look completely different than what we're all used to and love. Here's some quick examples of how Bethesda usually writes. This one's from Skyrim.
Do the same as we did with The Witcher. Because I remember to this day, when I was critical of the freaking trailer for The Witcher 4, Siri unnecessarily cut down to got uglified. Then, after they got a lot of shit, they changed it. Or at least in the trailer after that. Or was it screenshots? I don't remember. It's a long time ago. They changed her to look way prettier. It, sadly, talking normal, asking them nicely doesn't work. So you have to go and take the next step. Sadly. I am actually against it. But if it works, it works. If a freak uses those tools, we also have to.
Everything's for sale, my friend. Everything. If I had a sister, I'd sell her in a second.
And here's another one from Oblivion.
By the way, do you happen to know what the fine is here in Cyrodiil for necrophilia? Just asking.
For a friend.
Let's assume... No. That's nothing compared to Morrowind, thanks.
These types of jokes and funny lines are going to be completely absent in future titles because these weirdos are going to think it's offensive to women. And we've already gotten a sneak peek on how bad the writing is going to be with Starfield. We're all going to be non-stop bombarded with these immersion-breaking, strong, independent, don't need no man female leaders that talk down to these soy men constantly. And I'm not just talking out of my ass. Literally everything on this page was used in Starfield and Avowed. Do they have exaggerated body proportions? Bam! Say goodbye to fun bags, my dudes. Probably the worst one of all these, though, is the what % of screen time, on-screen presence, speaking lines, heroes are held by different gender racial identities. I think this locked post on the Starfield Steam forums sums this one up perfectly. Are white men extinct in Starfield? I can barely see them anywhere. I have a feeling they are extinct like dinosaurs. Yep. He's exactly right. Since these studios now have quotas to meet for diversity, instead of making a believable world, we'll have to deal with these half-assed, ugly NPCs sprinkled all over that take you right out of the damn game.
This doesn't make any sense.
Another thing I gotta bring up is that I am disappointed in where the next game is gonna take place. Nothing has been confirmed yet, and people are still debating on it. But who are we kidding here, dudes? Take a look at all the races. We all know what went down at Bethesda.
What's that demographic? Black people. They're gonna love that idea.
That's right, the Red Guards. I'm calling it here right now. The next Elder Scrolls game is gonna take place in Hammerfell. And don't get it twisted, I'm not saying that this means that the game's gonna suck. I think Redguard lore, and if they add ships to sail around the world in, has a ton of potential if done right. But it's a huge letdown to have another game based on real-world looking human areas. When we just had...
The thing is, we all know with the people that are at power right now, they will fuck it up. I don't care about the Redguard part. I would be freaking happy to get a Redguard freaking Oblivion game. Fair enough. But with the people that are right now, gonna suck.
Had 2 in a row. Cyrodiil had a European setting, and Skyrim was more of a Nordic Viking theme. Hammerfell is just gonna be covered in brown.
Just say motherfucker.
Yasuke, chill. I'm just saying it's gonna take place in a desert area. What makes Morrowind so awesome is how unique the landscape and the creatures are. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that feels this way, dudes. I'm willing to bet that if you polled every single Bethesda fan, Redguards and Hammerfell would be the lowest on the list. We could have had a unique game based around orcs, Argonians, or elves. Hell, I'll even take the furries. And before I get any weird comments,
I'm gonna be honest. I prefer that they do the Redguard than any other thing right now. Simply because if they would do Argonians, the Khajiit, orcs, right now they would fuck it up. So I prefer that. It's at least a human settlement. It would suck. Okay, fair enough. What I don't want to see is just an Argonian being freaking slandered because I love the freaking lore behind those fuckers. I love the Argonians.
If you think that black people only make Red Guards and that's all that they're interested in, there's something wrong with you, not me. And get this, dudes, Bethesda already made a game called The Elder Scrolls Redguard. It was a commercial flop, but they're gonna try again. Why? I don't know, dudes. Maybe I'm gonna be completely wrong, and honestly, I hope I am.
Yeah,
I grew up playing Bethesda games, and I still want them.
This is something that I respect about him. He says what he sees, what he thinks will happen, but he hopes that he's wrong. This is exactly the same thing, or exactly the way I think. Every single effing time I see this, I hope I'm wrong. Because I don't want to see games, well, most games. I don't want to see most games fail. There are exceptions to the rule. Okay.
To succeed, but all the signs are pointing to another disappointing title unless they return to their roots and stop trying to cater to people who don't even play their games. Either way, we still have the old games to go back to, and with the soon-to-be-released fan remakes of Morrowind and Oblivion, all entirely rebuilt on the Skyrim version of the Creation Engine, Elder Scrolls fans are going to be eating good for years. And if you're into open-world RPG games, I would suggest checking out Tainted Grail.
Please make something about Tainted Grail. Tainted Grail is so freaking awesome. But I also think it wouldn't get a lot of views. I'm not sure. But Esmengold played it, so maybe. Think about it, because Tainted Grail is awesome. I followed it since it first beta. It changed beta. I mean alpha. It changed so much the story, the freaking entirely. The only thing I stopped playing it like on a regular basis was because they took out the summons. I don't know if they, well, still have them or if they just took them out permanently, but I hope not. I hope they are still in there. I have to look it up.
It feels like a mixture of Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim all combined, with a lot of that old school feel that Bethesda has lost along the way. Peace.
Scouter V, as always. Freaking on point. I think, by the way, if you're still watching, sorry for... I think I forgot to look up your old video. I just said a lot of things on my mind. And to you acolytes, support this guy. Awesome, freaking funny, factual, and he tries to do evergreen content like this. On point. I love it. Just keep on it. As it is, good night.